Hello y'all, and welcome to YoungFolk Knits. Today I thought it might be fun to go through and look at new patterns that were just released this month. So stick around and we'll take a look at them. Hello y'all, and welcome back to YoungFolk Knits. If you're new here, my name is Casey, and this is a channel where I chat all about my love of fiber arts, whether that's knitting, spinning, sewing, or whatever else we might get up to around here. Occasionally I share a bit about living on a small farm here in Arkansas where my husband and myself and our children are beekeepers. We love gardens, chickens, animals, and spending time outdoors here in the foothills of the Ozarks. So if any of that sounds like it might be your cup of tea, then make sure and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on any future video content. Today, I thought it would be really fun to round up some new patterns that have just been released this month. We all love knitting patterns. There's so many, it's hard to keep up with. I'm constantly missing new ones that are coming out. So I decided to take a look on Ravelry and see what has been added this month. I picked out some of my favorites and I thought I'd share with you in case you might have missed some of them too. As always, I've created a bundle on Ravelry, which I will link in the description. So if you'd like to check out these new patterns as well as some more that I didn't have time to chat about, then you can follow that link and see all the patterns listed in one place. Also, if you watched my previous video, I did announce a giveaway for reaching 30,000 subscribers. And I did just want to mention that I am recording this video very closely after recording the previous video. So I won't be announcing the winner on this video, but I will on the next one. So make sure and stick around and the winner will be chosen for that video. Okay, new patterns. The way I find new patterns is that I go to Ravelry.com, and at the top there's a little tab that says patterns. So I will click on that and I will then click on advanced search, and what I will do then is sort by new to Ravelry. And I am really interested in knitting, so I will go down and select that. You can also go through and add different filters if you're interested in clothing, or if you're interested in a shawl or a scarf or a hat or socks, and you can filter it down to what you're specifically looking for. I'm going to go into my Ravelry bundle and pull up the ones that I've saved. I did find a few fun accessories and quite a few new clothing patterns. So let's start off with the accessories. The first one that I think is just so adorable is the Lars crossbody bag. This is a pattern by Joanna Garish, who is Colibri on Instagram, and I just think that this is adorable. I am a huge fan of crossbody bags. It is a staple in my outfit whenever I go out. So I usually have a brown leather crossbody bag that I wear everywhere. But I think this one is so fun. I love the geometric lines on it, the strong color contrasts, and I think this is just so cute. I love the fact that there's a zipper. This was designed with We Are the Knitters cotton, so that's a DK weight gauge. She used a US 2.5 or a 3 millimeter to knit this. Let's take a little look at what is included in it. It looks like you will use some double knitting, an I-cord edging. It's worked flat. There is striped color work, and there's some seaming with the zipper. It also looks like she has included instructions on adding a fabric lining. So This is just really cute. It's really fun. I think that it would be a lot of fun to knit up, but even more fun to carry around. You could get creative with the colors, and you can make a few different ones, maybe with some scrap yarn. So this is adorable, but it is going to require, you know, a few different skills, probably some sewing, and zippers are always fun, but I think it would be worth it in the end. Another new accessory I really liked is the Beach Day shawl. This is a pattern by my girl, Sari Nordland. I love this. This is a DK weight gauge. She used light fingering held double. And I just think this is a really cute shawl with some fun lace, but it doesn't look like it's too complicated. It's kind of a bandana style or a mini triangle shawl style. And it only uses, it says 246 to 492 yards. So that's going to be fingering held double. You could probably get away with one skein of DK. Okay, actually she used fingering weight yarn held with a lace weight yarn. So she used mohair and knitting for olive merino. That's going to make it soft and fluffy. I think this would be really cute in a cotton yarn though for the bandana style. It's going to definitely give you a little bit more moisture wicking summer vibes. If you want to knit this up for a fall winter little scarflet, then yes, I think that the merino and mohair would be really nice together. It's knit up on a US 6 or 4 millimeter, so it would knit up fairly quickly. I think that the Lush Lino DK from Cozy Posy Yarn Co. would be really pretty in this. I also think that if you have a skein of DK weight merino, I think that would be really nice against the skin. I think that there's just a lot of options here. I also think that it would be a lot of fun to knit this up in the Universal Yarn Bamboo Pop. I mentioned on my last video that I got this on sale from Lovecrafts, and I picked up a few at a local yarn store, Arkansas Yarn Co. And this is classified as a light, so around a DK weight, and I think that this bamboo, let's see, 50% cotton, 50% bamboo, I think that would be really lovely in this pattern. Okay, so those were some accessories. Let's check out a few newly released clothing patterns. So one I just think is beyond adorable is a pattern called Hawthorne Tank, and this was released by Kimberly S. On Instagram, Kimberly is Golden Boy Knits, I believe. So this is knit up in a fingering weight yarn. The designer used the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Foxy Lady. I love this base. It is a singles base, but it is a merino and silk blend, and it is just incredibly lovely. It takes the dye so nice. It's got this great sheen to it, and again, it's a singles, so it's just light and there's no weight to it at all. So this is really fun. It comes in 10 sizes, and you're knitting this on a US 4 or a 3.5 millimeter, and it looks like a fairly simple-ish scoop V-neck blend. It's a tank, and then you go in and you're adding fringe all along in a V pattern. It's so fun. It gives me big time Western vibes. I also think this is really fun for those end of summer music festivals, those fun vibes. And I really like the low contrast version that she did in the original, but I also think there's some cute higher contrast ones like a mustard yellow with a off-white color. So I think that you could have a lot of fun with this tank. It comes with a full chest measurement from 28 inches to 64 inches. So there is a lot of size options here. Okay, another one that I think is really cute is a pattern that was released by Sophie from the Knit Pearl Girl, and it is called the Ostel Te. I hope I'm saying that correctly. So this was knit up in a DK weight gauge, and it says knitting for olive merino and knitting for olive pure silk. Okay, so this is a pattern that you, again, can either hold 2 strands of fingering weight yarn. For instance, 2 strands of Knitting for All of pure silk, or 2 strands of Knitting for All of merino, or you can hold a single strand of a DK weight yarn. So Sophie knit this really fun lace drop shoulder tee with some nice shoulder details and a fun collar. I think this would be really cute in a cropped version and worn over a bathing suit or a camisole that you could purposefully see underneath. I think that knit up in something like 2 strands of pure silk, this is going to be a nice summer tee. And I think that the collar that is on it will also make it go nicely into fall, worn over a camisole, possibly with a little bandana and some cute pants. I think you could have a lot of really fun outfit options for multiple seasons here. This comes in sizes A through L, so it has a finished bust circumference of 42 inches to 70.25 inches. And let's see, it calls for about 10 inches of positive ease. So this is really cute. I like it. It has a fun, relaxed vibe, but I can definitely see this worn tucked into some high-waisted pants with a cute camisole underneath leading into fall with a darker color. I like it a lot. Another newly released pattern is one by Caitlin Hunter, or Boyland Knitworks, and this is called Strabo. I think this is part of the Italian, Knitily series. So it's tea patterns inspired and named for places in Italy. This is a light fingering gauge, or Mayak Koopa Baby Yak Organic Cotton. That is a base I've never used and never touched before, but it sounds very interesting. It's knit up on US 2 or 2.75 millimeter needles and US 3 or 3.25 millimeter needles. It has a really fun lace pattern that I think is classic and beautiful and textured and interesting. And of course, I love that charcoaly color with the greenish cast to it. It's just really lovely and classic, and I think that this is a tee that would be beautiful in anyone's wardrobe. It is going to be a bit of a commitment. I think knitting that all over lace in a light fingering weight gauge with a cotton base could be a definite commitment for your hands and for your brain to make it through, but I think it would be worth it. It's absolutely stunning. It's really beautiful. So it does look like it's knit bottom up, which isn't always my favorite for trying on, but it's a drop shoulder, which gives you a little bit more wiggle room for that oversized fit, and I think that it's a lovely pattern. Another one that was just recently released is the Lunn, which is by Rebecca Clow, or the Crayabea. And this is a fingering weight gauge as well. She recommended the Camerose Sommeruld, or Seinasgarn Sunday. This is a size-inclusive pattern, and it has finished bust circumference from 32.5 inches to 68.5 inches. It is all over ribbing, and it does have a top-down drop-shouldered construction. And I like the fact that you can either do this with a split neck folded collar or without that. I actually really like it without the collar. I like the ribbing details and the simple crew neck. I think that this is something that I would wear a lot more without the collar. It looks like it comes in both a fingering weight gauge and a DK weight gauge. So that's really nice. You almost are getting 2 patterns in one here. I think this is lovely. Rebecca always does a beautiful job, and I think this would be a great pattern to add into your library. Another short sleeve pattern that I really like is called Gritty. This was recently released by Jacqueline Slack, and it uses the Pearl Soho Cattail Silk yarn, which is a fingering weight. It is knit up on a US 5, and it looks like it is color work. So I've never done color work in a silk yarn. That would be interesting, but I think it gives a really fun look, and I like the fact that if it's going to be color work and it's going to be a tee, I like the fact that it's a fingering weight, because once you start getting up to those heavier weights in color work, it gets pretty warm no matter what the fiber blend is. This comes in a finished bust circumference of 35 inches all the way up to 69.75 inches, and it calls for about 8 inches of positive ease at the chest. Jacqueline mentions that the cattail silk is a yarn that has really nice drape, which I think most silk yarn does. I love that feature of a silk yarn. But also that it blooms beautifully when washed and doesn't curl on unfinished stockinette edges. So that's really interesting. And it looks like Jacqueline took advantage of that, because the edges of this tee don't look particularly finished, like with a ribbing or anything. So this would be a fun pattern. Not one that I'm going to be able to get to in the next little bit because it's almost time for fall knitting, but very interesting pattern, and I like the details of that one a lot. Another new pattern that has been recently released by Caitlin Hunter or Boyland Knitworks is the Hawthorne Tank. So this was knit up in Ritual Dyes Undine, which is a fingering weight base linen blend with cotton, I believe. I have used this and love that base. This pattern doesn't look like it's going to call for a lot of yardage, which is nice. Probably only need a couple of hanks of this yarn. I think that it has a really fun halter style. The only problem is this is definitely not bra friendly in any way, shape, or form. So because of that, this isn't one that I think I can knit and wear. I just cannot do strapless bras. But if you do want to knit this pattern and make a choice of, you know, wearing like a bralette that is going to show and looks like it is meant to show, then that could be cute as well. You could probably finish it pretty quickly and have one more summer knit before the fall weather hits. Another pattern that was released is the Ribbed Turtleneck Tank by Jessie Mae Designs. This is knit up in Ritual Dyes Undine, but the DK version. Let's see, it has a finished bust circumference from 24.5 inches all the way up to 56.5 inches, but it calls for negative ease. So because of that, you're going to actually choose a size that is smaller than your bust circumference. Due to that ribbing, it's just gonna cinch and expand. So you're gonna have a very fitted top. Again, this is one that I'm not completely sure about on the bra situation. Maybe if I got one of those racerback bras, it would hide it a little bit better and you could wear one with this. I'm also interested in what it would be like to knit a completely ribbed garment in Ritual Dyes Undine DK. I would really like to see the fabric that creates. It looks like it still has some really nice cinching and expanding properties to it, and I like the sort of shorter turtleneck that you create. It's very early 2000s. It's very early 2000s to me. One last pattern I wanted to share is the Anita sweater, which is by Alexander from Vare and Rose, I believe, on Instagram. She used Sunday Fiber Company Gray Mist DK. So this is a DK weight gauge, and it's some lovely, fun lace details throughout the raglan shaped sweater. It's the crew neck. It is knit top down, which I love. It has a fun puff sleeve, and it has finished bust measurements from 95 centimeters to 178 centimeters. This is knit on 4.5 millimeter needles and 3.5 millimeter needles, so I think that it would probably knit up fairly quickly. That's a US 7, and it's just a really fun pattern. I love that texture. It's not a pattern that I have seen anything like, so great job, Alex. I think this is really fun. Alright y'all, that's all I'm going to chat about today. There are a lot of patterns that are always being released on Ravelry, but these were some of my favorite. I plan on making this a monthly installment, so let me know what you think in the comments and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for sticking around, thanks for hanging out, and until next time, happy knitting y'all.